There's a lie we're told about success, that the most successful people are the most compassionate, the most understanding, the most empathetic. It sounds good. It feels moral, but it's not true. In fact, the higher people rise, the less empathetic they often become. Not because they're evil, not because they're heartless, but because empathy, unchecked, is expensive. Let me show you why. Years ago, there was a man everyone loved working with. He listened. He understood everyone's struggles. He never said no. When deadlines were missed, he empathized. When excuses were made, he nodded. When performance dropped, he explained it away. People felt safe around him. But something strange happened. The team didn't grow. Results didn't improve. Deadlines kept slipping. Eventually, he was replaced. His replacement wasn't cruel, but he was different. He listened less. He tolerated less. And when standards weren't met, he acted. People called him cold, but the team succeeded. This pattern shows up everywhere, in business, in leadership, in wealth, in power. As responsibility increases, empathy decreases. Not because successful people don't feel, but because they can't afford to feel everything. Empathy slows decisions. Empathy blurs boundaries. Empathy invites exceptions. And exceptions destroy systems. Empathy feels noble. It tells you they didn't mean to. They're trying their best. Life is hard. And sometimes that's true. But success doesn't operate on intentions. It operates on outcomes. A system that prioritizes feelings over results collapses quietly. And the higher you go, the more people depend on your decisions. At that level, empathy stops being virtue and starts becoming liability. Here's what actually happens as people succeed. They experience this cycle: empathy, burnout, detachment, clarity. At first, they care deeply. They help. They explain. They bend. Then they get overwhelmed. Too many emotions. Too many stories. Too many exceptions. So the mind adapts. It pulls back. Not to become cruel, but to survive the weight of responsibility. Emotional distance creates faster decisions, clearer judgment, stronger boundaries, consistent standards, and consistency is what scales. This is why leaders don't over-explain, CEOs don't debate every emotion, winners don't absorb every feeling in the room. They observe more than they absorb. Empathy becomes selective. Here's the truth that makes people uncomfortable. Highly empathetic people struggle to dominate competitive environments, not because they lack talent, but because they over-identify with others. They hesitate, they second-guess, they carry guilt that isn't theirs. Meanwhile, less empathetic individuals separate emotion from action, make unpopular decisions, move forward without consensus, and the world rewards that. This is where people misunderstand everything. Less empathy does not mean no compassion, no morality, no humanity. It means controlled empathy. Successful people don't eliminate empathy. They limit its influence. They feel, but they don't linger. They understand, but they don't bend reality. Empathy makes you human, but unchecked empathy makes you predictable, manipulable, and exhausted. Success doesn't require becoming heartless. It requires becoming selective. Because when everyone's emotions become your responsibility, your future quietly stops being yours. And that's why the higher people rise, the less empathetic they appear. Not because they don't care, but because clarity costs emotion. Empathy is powerful, but only when you decide where it ends.